The ocean is an amazing place full of some really bizarre and incredible creatures, many of which we've never even seen before. The ocean covers over 70% of our planet, but it's estimated that there are still many more undiscovered species living in its depths than ones we already know about. There are all kinds of crazy things down there, from anglerfish with glowing lights on their heads to giant squid with enormous eyes. But today we won't be talking about any of those animals. Instead, we'll be discussing one of the most well-known sea creatures of all time, the mermaid. For thousands of years, people have been telling stories about these mystical beings who live in the ocean and lure sailors to their doom. So let's take a closer look at the mermaid and see if there's any truth to the legend. We're sure you've heard about mermaids before, so there's no need for us to go into too much detail about what they are. Basically, mermaids are half human and half fish creatures who live in the ocean. They're often depicted as beautiful women with long flowing hair and a fish tail instead of legs. Mermaids have been featured in folklore and mythology all around the world for thousands of years. And there are many different stories and beliefs about them. In some cultures, mermaids are seen as benevolent creatures who help sailors in distress. In others, they're viewed as dangerous and deadly. Some people believe that mermaids are real, while others think they're just a figment of our imagination. One of the earliest known references to mermaids can be found in the ancient Assyrian text known as the Epic of Gilgamesh. The story goes that Utnapishtim, the survivor of a great flood, was given immortality by the gods after he helped them destroy humanity. As a reward, the gods allowed him and his wife to live out their days on an island in the ocean where they would be served by mermaids. Another famous mermaid story comes from the legend of Aphrodite, the Greek goddess of love and beauty. According to the myth, Aphrodite was born fully grown from the sea foam off the coast of Cyprus. She was then taken in by some goat herders who raised her as their own. One day, Aphrodite decided to hold a beauty contest to find the most beautiful woman in the world. The winner of the contest was a mortal named Europa, who was so beautiful that the gods were jealous. To punish her, they turned her into a mermaid and threw her into the ocean. Of course, we all know the famous story of The Little Mermaid by Hans Christian Andersen. The story follows a young mermaid who makes a deal with an evil sea witch in order to become human. In exchange for her voice, the sea witch gives the mermaid a pair of legs, and the mermaid is able to live out her days on land. However, the mermaid is not able to speak, so she can't warn the prince of the danger that lies ahead, and as a result, they end up dying together. Throughout history, mermaids have been depicted in a variety of different ways. In some stories, they're seen as helpful and friendly creatures who befriend humans. In others, they're portrayed as dangerous and evil beings who lure sailors to their deaths. This duality is likely due to the fact that mermaids were often seen as a symbol of the ocean itself. The ocean can be a life-giving force, but it can also be a destructive one. Just like the ocean, mermaids could be both beautiful and terrifying. One of the most famous depictions of a mermaid comes from the 1989 Disney movie The Little Mermaid. In the film, Ariel is a young mermaid who longs to become human. With the help of a sea witch, she gets her wish, but she loses her voice in the process. Despite this, she falls in love with a human prince and eventually they live happily ever after. This version of the mermaid has become a cultural icon, and Ariel is one of the most beloved Disney characters of all time. But do mermaids really exist? Well, that's a little difficult to say. There have been many reports of mermaids over the years, but none of them have ever been confirmed. Many of the most famous mermaid sightings have later been revealed to be hoaxes. For example, in 1842, a man named Justin H. Smith published a story about a mermaid he had seen in the Gulf of Mexico. This story was accompanied by a drawing of the creature and soon began to circulate around the world. It wasn't long before everyone was talking about the mermaid of the Mississippi. But as it turned out, the whole thing was a hoax. Smith had actually drawn the mermaid based on a description he had read in a book, and he had never actually seen one in real life. There have been other famous mermaid sightings, of course, such as the one by Russian sailors in 1909. But even this sighting has never been confirmed, and there is no hard evidence to say whether or not it really happened. Some people believe that mermaids are real and that they simply haven't been discovered yet. Others think that mermaids are just a product of our imagination and that we've created them because we've always been fascinated by the ocean. It's possible that mermaids may have originated from sightings of marine animals such as dugongs or manatees. These mammals live in the ocean and they have a distinct mermaid-like appearance. They also share some similarities with humans, such as the fact that they're mammals. This could have led to stories of mermaids evolving over time. It's also possible that mermaids may have originated from sailors' tall tales. Sailors spend a lot of time in the ocean, and they often have to endure harsh conditions. It's not uncommon for them to become disoriented and hallucinate. It's possible that some of the famous mermaid sightings were actually cases of sailors hallucinating due to dehydration or exposure to the elements. No matter what their origins may be, mermaids continue to capture our imagination today. We're fascinated by the idea of a creature that is part human and part animal, and we're intrigued by the mystery of the ocean. Perhaps we'll never know for sure if mermaids exist, but that doesn't stop us from believing in them. Maybe there really is something lurking in the water just waiting to be discovered. So what do you think? Do you believe in mermaids? Let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this. Thanks for watching. See you next time. As we finish up this video, we want to remind you that there's a lot of talk about mermaids in pop culture, but we really want to emphasize that they're just that, a part of our collective imagination. However, there are plenty of sea creatures that are just as fascinating as mermaids. Did you know that there's a real-life mermaid? Meet the woman who looks like a real-life mermaid. Her name is Alina, and she has a rare medical condition that makes her entire body feel very inflamed. Because of this, Alina spends most of her time in water, which is why she developed a passion for swimming. Alina became interested in mermaiding when she was just 13 years old. Ever since then, she's been practicing and perfecting her mermaid skills. Alina is now a professional mermaid, and she travels all over the world performing shows and teaching mermaid lessons. We hope you enjoyed learning about the woman who looks like a real-life mermaid. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe for more amazing content. And if you want to learn more about mermaids, be sure to check out our other videos on this topic. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.